everybody. This is Ann Sieg. I am so excited. We've been so busy the last 2 days, and we have 2 more days to go of our big grand opening. This is something we've never done before, and that is we have a brand new free membership. It's crazy. And so we're doing a whole number of interviews. It's a total of 17 live interviews to get the good word out, the good news out about the amazing, I believe, e-commerce business school, but we're going to have these 2 folks speak to that themselves directly. So we have here with us Cindi and Don Marsh. So welcome.
Hello.
All right. I'm so excited. I have the honor for my e-commerce master's program members, for which you are EMP, we call it EMP, the acronym, because I get to read the accountability reports. And I get to follow people's journey through those reports. And I've been watching you, Cindi. We haven't talked really, I don't think one-on-one. Have we talked at all previous? I'm not recalling.
No, just once.
Okay.
I mean, at the very beginning when you came on, when I was interviewing with Sharon.
Okay, I remember that. And then I'm like, after that, okay. So what I really enjoy is watching members progress through the program. The accountability report, just so folks who are watching know what that is, it's an optional feature with an EMP that our members submit their accountability report, which is all very clearly delineated, isn't it? Like your quarterly goals, etc. Yeah. And I just get to watch people's progress. And some people have been doing these for years. So I really know their journey. But here's what I noticed is you did 4 boot camps, right?
Yes.
And I'm thinking that made a big difference. So we're going to find out more about that. But let's do this first. We'll back up a little step. I get so excited because I have been watching your progress. Tell us a little bit about your background and what brought you into the e-commerce business school.
Well, with regard to selling, I've been in a lot of direct sales, and I'm pretty good at face-to-face selling. But I was good at it, but I didn't really enjoy it all that much. And I've been looking my whole life for a job where I could make money shopping. And when I saw the video about local retail arbitrage, I was like, that's my baby. So I got, the very next day, I listened to the orientation and decided, I want to give this a try. It's at a good time in my life. My kids have moved, and I don't have a lot of entanglements. And I loved the community. The first time I talked to you, and it was that night of the orientation, I found out what we had in common. You asked what my goal was, and it was to make it possible for Dawn to retire and come home. And you said that was what you had done. And I knew right away you were also a woman of faith, and so was everybody else I met. It was just awesome. And I was like, okay, this is the company for me. And it's been fabulous.
So the community. You came in a new member orientation, and were you one of the people unmuted as well?
Yes, I was.
Wow. That is amazing. I love doing that exercise because I so want to know why people are here. What's brought them here? Where do they want to go? So when I draw those out, it's so much fun to interact. Well, that's awesome. Now I just have to dig just a little deeper just for a moment. You said direct sales. That's my whole background for like 30, 40 years. Uh-huh. Were you on my previous subscriber list by any chance?
No, I've never heard of you before.
Wow, isn't that something? Because I have this huge following that was my initial foray into this space, was through that. And when you said direct sales, I thought, oh, okay, she's been following me for a long time. But not so. No. Well, so we have a lot in common. Now, how about you, Don? What is your background?
Well, I've had a window cleaning business for the past 37 years.
Oh, my husband did that briefly.
Really?
Yes.
I was here for the long haul. And I actually did have an online store 10 years ago. I started selling window cleaning equipment to other people that were interested in starting a business because I was bombarded with emails and phone calls from people who would find my website and say, hey, how do you start a thing like this? And so I started making YouTube videos about how to start a business, and I had gotten a domain called squeegeesbymail.com. I thought I'd make it so easy for people to figure out.
Yeah.
But it was the biggest pill in the world because I was doing everything. I was working and I was also doing fulfillment.
Oh, wow.
And I was making the videos, and I just, after about a year, I said, okay, I've had enough of this. I'm not making enough money for it to be worth my while.
Oh,
So,
fascinating. So when you heard about print on demand,
oh yeah, that's exciting.
you're light bulbs, because you had a point of reference. For those who've never done any kind of selling, they have no point of context. But you're like, oh, that's going to go. Any idea?
That pretty much sold me. I would never do retail arbitrage. Never. Okay. But because it's kind of like what I was doing before, only times, some multiple. I'm the one that hauls the boxes to FedEx.
Oh,
so,
good. Okay. Oh, good.
Yeah, and I hate that. I mean, it's not a big deal, but it's one more thing. And that's how it was for the window cleaning business.
Okay, so now I'm really smitten to know. You started in Shop Your Way to Wealth, Cindy. So how did you, because it seems to me you joined EMP maybe 5 weeks ago.
I was trying everything.
Okay.
And so I went from Shop Your Way to Wealth, which was the first thing I heard about. And then I upgraded to the next membership level. I don't remember what that was. I know I did the first thing I upgraded to was the side hustle.
Right. Yum.
And then I did something else that brought me to the online arbitrage and then book flipping. Those are the three of those.
Yes.
So I just kept building on what I was learning. I kept going from one to the other, and also acquiring all the equipment needed for each of them.
Yes, this is true.
You're going to do it, you're going to do it.
That's right.
So if anybody wants to buy a Dymo labeler.
Oh, so you're not going to continue with books then?
Correct.
Okay, got you.
Book flipping's not for me. So then when I heard about print on demand, I learned a little bit more about that, and that led me to buy the master's program. And if you love learning, the master's program is, oh my gosh, there's so much there, and everything is necessary. You don't know what you don't know until you hear it for the first time, and everything's a wow. So it's really been great. Now Dawn's watching the videos with me, and we're having a great time.
That's awesome. I'm so happy that you can do this as a team. It doesn't happen for everybody, but for every new member orientation, I acknowledge the family dynamic. Like you say, the faith part, that's a big part of that for me, is acknowledging the family unit, solidifying the family unit, and giving the opportunity for families to come together around a business. So you mentioned Christy, for example, who she's being interviewed one of the next 2 days, but she's got like 4 or 5 family members now.
I know. I'm jealous.
So it's so cool, because in the NMO, new member orientation, I always say, now I well imagine there's probably a husband and wife team watching right now. And then the hands will go up, and indeed that's what's happening, because people really do crave, a lot of folks, if there was only a way we could work together as a family, or, as a husband and wife team. And it's really, to me, such a blessing to see that happen. And so when I saw your story coming through, I'm like, you mean to tell me your husband's involved too? Oh man, that's just so awesome.
That wasn't the plan, but he is now.
So let's delve into that. And by the way, we've got lots of folks, Nancy saying, great to know that previous grunt work like books, arbitrage, etc. counts for something. Glad I did it. Mm-hmm. Glad I have made the decision to move on. And I agree. That's all part of the foundation. And
yeah.
Deepening one's understanding and perspective. It all has a benefit. But she says that's why I'm here as well. Judith saying hi. Candida here. She says, way to go for boot camps. Okay, and someone saying Cindy is one of my favorite boot camp grads, a real positive force and rising star.
Oh, how cool is that?
It's pretty darn cool.
That is very nice.
So you've been inspiring for me. So what I want to get into, you're talking about EMP. I was so happy when I read this last week's report. I came out of that recording feeling like the buttons were just popping right off my shirt. I'm like, look at these people. They are doing the deal, and the reports are so thorough, and I was just so proud of my members. And yet, truth be told, not everyone even utilizes it. And I just go, wow, there's so much, to me, valuable information. Sharon Safford, she wouldn't miss a report for anything. But why don't you share with the folks, we're talking about the e-commerce master's program. What are the different things already that you're going through and that you've benefited from?
Well, it's funny that when I got the master's program, I really didn't know all of what I had purchased and didn't even realize that there was a course called the master's program. And so I just jumped directly into the print on demand course and I accidentally got into building your e-business first. And really that kind of follows the print on demand course. So I was almost through print on demand when I finally discovered the master's program stuff. Everything is valuable. You learn something everywhere, and I would really encourage people to take their time and not skip anything. And I know that you recommend to people that they watch the Shop Your Way to Wealth through twice before coming to Trifecta. And I also want to encourage people who have just gotten started and feel like it's going slow. And I remember thinking to myself, I can't find anything. I'm restricted in everything. That is a very valuable learning process. And I totally understand why you have us go through everything. It's all learning. And it's all a progression to getting competency in even just in scanning. And you do develop an eye for what products sell and what is your niche, but that takes time. So I just want to encourage the beginners that are feeling frustrated to hang in there. I didn't go as quickly. You think I moved quickly? It wasn't going quickly enough for me. And here's one of my tricks. I pick someone farther along than I am, and I try to keep up with them. And Christy has been my person because she's in it a year longer than I. And so I'm watching what she's like, her report. Her report was so incredibly thorough.
I know.
And I mean to ask her to send me a copy of it because I want to use it as an outline.
You know, that is so powerful what you're saying, and I want to impart a little teaching point to people is that people need to level up and not remain at the game they're playing. And they may not even be aware that they're playing at a certain level, but they need to be aware of leveling up. And the best way to level up is watch people who are ahead of you. Like you say with Christy, her accountability report was so phenomenal.
Yes.
This last week in particular. And I'm like, wow, even if the other fellow EMP members just read some of these reports, let alone submit them to learn, because Christy's thought pattern is so logical and strategical. And she's been submitting these for quite some time, and I'm inputting every single week. So what you see is I've been mentoring her for well over a year just in a report. So it is a really powerful tool. But I just wanted to capture what you said there, because what you're doing is you're leveling up by watching someone that you're like, that's the one. I'm going to follow her. That's a smart business plan, right? A game plan right there. So I give you kudos on that. Anything else are you in the check and adjust calls? Do you come to those?
Oh, yeah. Yes. And I really enjoy I've had the opportunity to be the only live person on a check and adjust. And it was like I got a full hour of my own private coaching. It was awesome.
It happens more often than people might believe. And it's like, well, there you go. You got one-on-one coaching for sometimes more than 30 minutes, depending on who's the trainer that day. So now let's get to the print on demand. And I'm so curious to know, how did the journey work with you going through that? And then Don, when did you come into the conversation, or how did that work out?
I think it's when she was trying to figure out what sort of niche that she would, I think we were writing down niches that appeal to us. And there are things that should appeal to you personally. And so I thought about that. I was like, well, what do I like? And, I like quotations and verses, and whether it's out of the Bible or some poem or something like that, because sometimes there is a line from a poem that literally has stuck with me for 50 years, and it's like, why is that? That's a thing that comes back to me all the time. And initially, we really kind of had this crazy idea of having T-shirts where there was a verse of poetry and it was reversed, so you had to read it in the mirror.
Oh.
And it was cut, and I called the thing "It Speaks to Me," because it's for you. It's not. And if people do want to read it, they got to at least, look at it and think about it.
So it's reversed for them when they're looking at the person wearing the T-shirt. Is that right?
Yeah. Well, when they're looking at it, it's a reverse image. But if I'm looking in the mirror,
right.
Like
Then
So since then, that idea is not exactly. I haven't worked out how to do that. I've just been coming up with, verses and getting ideas for what to do with that and why this is valuable. Because, we went through a big downsize years ago, and I hate stuff. Happiness is an empty garage as far as I'm concerned, or a bonfire if necessary.
I agree.
I get rid of stuff. I just can't, sneak it out of the house sometimes if I have to. So anyway.
The shopper in the house. That's my
But if you are going to own things, then it's got to have value added. And so you even take a mug or a T-shirt or whatever, if it has something on it that means something to you and something that either you want to broadcast or you want to see it, you want that set before your face, that makes that more valuable than just a mug or just, any other picture on the wall. Because I'm in people's houses all the time, and I see pictures on the wall, and they're nice, but there's no meaning.
Yeah.
At least for me, it's like, But when you put the verses on it, now it has some meaning. I want a message.
Yeah.
And so I think that's something that, I started thinking of that. I went down this whole road, and I'm kind of working on, I want to make collections of them. Like, you could not just buy one mug with a verse, but there would be 4 mugs with verses from different poems for a particular poet. That way they have to buy them all. So
empty without all of them, right?
Yeah, absolutely. You got to collect those things.
You got the Mark Twain collection.
Yeah. Mark Twain actually wrote some poetry, and some of it's hysterical.
Oh, yeah.
It's not. Well, I think it's stuff that more would appeal to a man, because most of the stuff appeals to women. And that's really my audience.
Yeah.
Buy things for a man, though.
Yeah. Well, I'm seeing how because I've looked at your store, tell us your store, by the way, the name.
'Tis the Season.
'Tis the Season. Now, I need to understand that when I was looking at.
You got it.
I did. Okay,
you did.
Good.
You got it. 'Tis the season, every season.
Good. Okay.
What I'm trying to do, or what we're trying to do now, because his fit right into mine, we ended up having the same vision. We want to be influencers to change the world. No big thing, but we want to help. Yes, to help people share joy, to lift everyone's focus off the small, the petty, the mean, the discouraging, and uplift people in no matter what season they're in, whether it's birthing a baby or retiring or the 4th of July. There are seasons, and then there are seasons. Some of them are just a day, a birthday. Some of them are years, parenthood. There are different things that people go through, and I want to share smiles or give them, especially a mom that's had a hard day, what is her go-to mug saying to her?
Yeah.
So,
I'm very impressed. I think that's wonderful. That is helping me help actualize what I'm wanting to do, which is develop entrepreneurs who impact the culture in a positive way.
Yes. Yeah. So it's tistheseason.store.
Tistheseason.store. Interesting. Okay. Well, when we can always post in your URL as well, because there is some last minute Christmas shopping to be had.
Absolutely.
That's right. All right. So we've got people watching this and who will be watching via the recording. To speak to the folks twofold. So both of you have business background. Not everyone who sees my ads, you saw my ad that you responded to, Cindi, but just to, you can probably best speak to those who have had a business, but irregardless, we know that there are so many shifts going on in the economy of people having to find a new way to make money. Life has happened. They're now taking care of an aging parent, all sorts of things happening. And people are looking for, everyone has to make a living somehow. Why e-commerce and why the e-commerce business school? What do you have to tell them?
Because it's growing. Oh my goodness. I myself have started doing more and more buying online. It's more convenient. It is energy saving because you're not driving and using the car. A lot of times you can, if you're, no, that was off topic. It is growing where brick and mortar stores are not, and they're closing. The variety that you can get via e-commerce is incredible. Anything that you need to go to a regular store for, you can buy it online. Mm-hmm. And many places offer free shipping now. So when I'm talking about saving money, I'm thinking of Christy again as far as saving energy, because one UPS guy covers a route and delivers to everybody instead of all those individual cars going to the brick and mortar stores. So
the guy that showed up today was in a golf cart.
Yeah.
Oh, seriously?
Seriously.
Yes, I'm serious.
They're,
a golf cart.
They're covering neighborhoods now.
Really?
Yes.
Yeah.
So a neighborhood, even my UPS guy had a wagon behind, I'm trying to remember. It was behind his mail truck. Yeah. And that's where he was delivering packages from.
Wow. It is exploding is what that's saying. It's exploding.
Yeah.
Especially now.
And so why?
It's so hard to get what you want at a brick and mortar store nowadays. They don't invest as much in having that inventory because they're afraid of getting stuck with it. Mm-hmm. And I was I still buy window cleaning stuff from other retailers, and I end up having, even though there's places here in town that have some of those things, I can't get them to carry things that I tell them. I said, look, I buy this all the time. Why do you not have this? And they say, well, it's because we have to buy a box of them. I said, that's right. It's called retail. I said, this is a very good product. I go through them. Other people would use them too. And I had that argument with one supply house, for years. And then finally I threw up my hands. I said, I'm sorry, I can't do business with you anymore. I have to go online. There's, I don't know what it is. They're just, still back in the 20th century, literally.
It's hard for them to transition. I think it feels overwhelming in the midst of trying to run their brick and mortar and save it and also add on e-commerce, which I'm hoping I can help those folks too. All right, so we have this big 4-day grand opening going on, and we're inviting people in to receive a free membership. And there is one, it's a little mini course. There's 2 different options, but they get to, because what I find is so many people, they're very fearful being online. They're fearful of getting ripped off, scammed, not getting value. They're just afraid. That's what I notice. A lot of people are very afraid. So for someone who's looking at e-commerce business school, why the e-commerce business school to learn e-commerce?
Well, I think that you're just brilliant in giving the free classes now, because I know they'll see just enough to want more. And they'll see, I can do this. And the way e-commerce business school is set up, there's someone to help you every step of the way. You can, the Facebook groups, the different groups where you can talk to your peers and also talk to those that have been in longer, and tag a coach and the coach will respond. It's just, you really have to not want to be able to not be able to.
It's true.
Well, I think that at least half the value of it is the accountability factor, because the information, I'm the king of second opinions, and I want you to know that I go to YouTube all the time. I look for other people's take on e-commerce. I've been reading these things, and it seems like a lot of this information is all over the place. However, most people won't stick to it.
Mhm.
You know, that's the whole thing. It's not just the information. It's, do you have somebody who's going to walk you through it? The fact that there's a check-in, you're expected to, I know you have people that don't do it, but nonetheless,
Yeah.
you know, they're expected to check in. It's to help them to stay on course.
Yeah.
And I think that's probably 3/4 of it right there. Not
I
just
agree.
information.
And that's why we have it. I was the sports coach for 15 years. That accountability and tracking your progress is so important. And so when I saw the 4 boot camps, I'm like, that is so awesome. And I'm like,
it was necessary to not just try that discipline, because it didn't take the first 2 times, but to instill that discipline in me of setting those goals and making sure that I carved enough time out of my schedule to work on those goals. So now I have a list, and it's not just having the goal, it's attaching a time frame to it as well. Those things build in the discipline, and I needed those boot camps, and you saw they really made a difference.
They really made a difference. I was just beaming with pride. I'm like, she did it. You know, it makes me so happy because you're willing to go through that to acquire the discipline. So I'm so happy and excited for you too. Thank you very much for your time to show in, especially together as a team. I know people are really, really busy these days, and to share with our members, you know, what's happened for you in this short time. So a really big congratulations. What's that?
Thank you. 4 months.
4 months, and look at that. You've learned so much, and you have your POD store up just in time before the holidays. So a big congratulations, and I don't doubt I'll be looping back to do another interview with you too.
Thank you.
What fun.
Alrighty.
Thanks,
Have
Ann.
a good evening. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.